this is Flurry Moon. Welcome back to my channel. A few months ago, I did a deep dive into controversial and recalled toys, and you guys love when I talk about toys, and good thing I do too. So today we will be taking another look into some toys that were pulled off shelves, whether they were dangerous physically for the child or mentally, and others that weren't exactly taken away, but sparked a lot of controversy. Also, I tried to make the background a little bit cuter for you guys. I did move. It's definitely not goodbye to that initial spot. I'm not gonna stop filming there forever, but this is probably where I'll be. We're trying, and we're not gonna point this out, okay? Okay. Same as last time, I won't be covering any toys that caused serious or life-altering injuries. I'm not trying to exploit any suffering that real children and families went through, and I like to keep these silly and lighthearted, so if you're waiting for a really iconic toy to be talked about that caused death, I probably won't be talking about that, so I'm sorry. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. Rad Repeatin Tarzan. Everyone and their freaking mother commented to talk about this, and I thought I wasn't going to, not because it's like inappropriate, like you guys know I love to talk about inappropriate stuff. It's just more I felt like everybody knew it already, but then I was doing research for this video and Louis looked over my shoulder and he was like, why do you keep looking at this picture of a Tarzan toy? So I'm like, okay, maybe not everyone knows this, so I will be talking about it today. This is a great one to start with because it's more up my alley of toys that were taken off shelves due to being inappropriate and not like being physically dangerous, although again, we will talk about those too. Rad Repeatin Tarzan was an action figure released by Mattel in 1999 to promote Disney's Tarzan. The gimmick here was that Tarzan was supposed to repeat what you say into the little recordy thing, which is a fairly common mechanic, but this was not the issue here. The issue, for whatever reason, when a certain button was pressed, Tarzan's arm would go up and down. I don't even know if I should do it. It would go up and down. It was probably supposed to be like this. While he was doing this, he would like scream. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a yell, like a battle cry, or like, I don't know, I've never seen Tarzan, but it definitely all together just doesn't look right.
No.
Clearly, whatever they were going for was not how it came across. Rad Repeatin Tarzan was recalled shortly after it was released. There's actually not a whole lot of information on when it was recalled, but it is one of the more famous cases of a toy being banned, being referenced on Robot Chicken, and even being featured in an Ellen episode. This is just one of those toys, probably the biggest example of this, where I'm like, how many people did this go through? Like, you have designers, then you have production, then you have people overseeing production. Like, not one person throughout this entire process was like,
you guys see what I'm seeing?
like, not one. Or maybe they did and people were just like, no, it's fine. Rad Repeatin Tarzan is often sold online nowadays for around $60. This is something we will be going over quite a bit in this video, is like last time, a toy being recalled or banned automatically makes the toy like 10 times more valuable because they're rare, not everyone got their hands on them, and it's just controversial. What are we drinking today, you guys? I already had my coffee, so I have nothing to swirl around. I have my water. Kitty Kittens. This was actually recommended to me last time by one of you guys, so I'll put the comment here. I had actually never heard of them until now. They did come before me, so that's probably why. Kitty Kittens was a toy line released by Tyco in 1992 and later by DSI in the early 2000s. These purring plush cats and other animals featured squishy bodies filled with water, which was meant to make the toys feel more real, but the problem didn't start until the DSI release in the early 2000s. In 2001, over 230,000 kittens were recalled when it was discovered that the water each plush was filled with was contaminated with a bacteria that can cause children to get sick, especially those who already had weaker immune systems. Although thankfully there were no reports of children being affected by this, it seems like the Consumer Product Safety Commission acted pretty fast. Because of this, Buttons, Tiger, Calico, Mittens, Tawny, and Fluffy were all taken off shelves. DSI went on to release 2 more waves of Kitty Kitty Kittens, although the third wave was only released in a set few countries and are extremely rare and almost impossible to find nowadays. You can still find used Kitty Kitty Kittens being sold online, but they're not cheap. It's also important to note that a lot of people have this preconceived notion that all Kitty Kitty Kittens were recalled, when in reality, the Tyco or early 90s releases had 0 issues and did quite well. Also, a lot of people think that the water was used for the purring aspect, but the purring aspect was in their head and the water was in their bellies. I think these little guys are adorable, and if I was old enough during this time they were out, I would have been foaming at the mouth for their cute little sad faces. They're so cute. Bratz Secret Date. So this is the first toy we'll be talking about today that was not recalled. It just sparked up some controversy. And if you remember Bratz, you know parents were always freaking up in arms about how these dolls are too sexy.
But it strikes fear in the hearts of parents who see it as alarmingly sexy. Alarmingly sexy. Alarmingly sexy.
Bratz have been at the forefront of controversy since they first came out in 2001. Unrealistic body proportions, inappropriate outfits, even just the name Bratz rubbed parents the wrong way, as they didn't want their children to feel influenced and encouraged to act like Bratz. These dolls were a far cry from your typical cookie cutter girl next door Barbie doll who volunteers at animal shelters, does gymnastics, and bakes cookies. Bratz were the it girls, the cool, fashionable, unrelatable counterpart to Barbie. Because of this, it felt like with every new Bratz release, a new complaint was at the forefront. The blind date release was not safe from the backlash. Each box contained one of the girl main character dolls and a surprise male doll hidden behind a secret door. I'm not gonna lie, this packaging eats. Like, are you kidding me? The box reading, it's 7 p.m. Saturday night. You're all dressed up and ready for your blind date to arrive when suddenly the doorbell rings. Immediately, your heart begins to pound. Who will it be? What will he be like? What does he have planned? It's all a secret until you open the door and find out. Well, parents were quick to call out the inappropriate nature of selling blind date dolls to children, even writing letters to the CEO of MGA Entertainment in hopes of getting the dolls removed, asking whether they, quote, really want our daughters pretending to go on blind dates at 6 years old, unquote. Okay, so you're the one buying the doll for your kid? Like, you could just not get her that one? I don't know. Don't start typing yet. To be fair, it is a weird concept, almost encouraging little girls to invite strange men they've never met to their house. That's kind of wild. So I definitely get that. Also, the dolls were included with glasses filled with smoothies, and like, girl, that's vodka and we both know it. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that whole thing, but those were never recalled. They were not recalled. However, they were renamed from Secret Date to Blind Date, which I'm not sure how much better that is. Like, it kind of means the same thing. Maybe they thought Secret Date encouraged children to go on secret dates. Ooh, don't tell my mom. But yeah, so they changed it to Blind Date. Shrek McDonald's cups. This came from one of you guys, so thank you so much. I actually wasn't going to mention any cases involving lead and like lead paint, lead poisoning, because I feel like I yapped so much about it last time. I was sick of it. I was sick of seeing the word lead. However, this actually doesn't involve lead. It's close. It's actually worse. In 2010, McDonald's sold Shrek-themed cups in promotion for Shrek 4, which, don't kill me, I totally forgot existed. What nobody saw coming, though, was one of McDonald's biggest recalls in history, pulling over 13 million cups from being sold. Lead wasn't the culprit today, but its more dangerous sister, cadmium. Why, you ask? Well, ironically, companies in China were told to stop using lead, and I don't believe they were told to not use cadmium, so they were like, But what they didn't know, or maybe they did, I don't really know, was that cadmium is just as bad, if not worse, than lead. Cadmium was used as a pigment for the paintings on the cups, but this was extremely dangerous, as simply touching this metal could lead to ingesting it and then getting very sick. Specifically, it could cause damage to the liver, kidneys, and the nervous system. Thankfully, though, no incidents were reported. Supposedly, a third-party lab actually tested the cups and found that the toxic metal levels were actually within legal limits, so McDonald's actually could have been in the clear together, but they decided to stay on the safer side and just pull them all together. They even offered a $3 refund if you returned the cup, and I believe the original price was $2, so we actually got an extra $1 out of it. So I do think this was handled reasonably well for the most part. Obviously, it's not great that they ended up in homes in the first place, but I've just read about way too many companies letting this go for way too long. Like, I'm pretty sure the CSI examination kit, which I talked about at the very end of my last video, I'm pretty sure they weren't recalled until like 2 years after they were on shelves. Like, so it's crazy. Anyway, moving on. Austin Powers in Breaking Bad. I love this one. I just think it's so funny. I miss Toys R Us so much. A whole department store dedicated to children's toys is not something I have seen since Toys R Us went out of business, at least in the US in around 2018. And I want to do a whole video on this, just like the rise of corporate minimalism and the fact that children no longer have these whimsical, funky spaces. But that's a whole different video, but let me know if you guys would be interested in that, just like a little rant. However, back to the point. In 1999, Toys R Us found themselves in some hot water when an outraged parent complained that on a trip to the store with her 11-year-old son, he picked up an Austin Powers doll in underwear who repeated outrageous phrases from the movie Austin Powers, the Spy Who Shagged Me. The phrase in question? Do I make you horny, baby? Did I do it right? After this, her 11-year-old son repeatedly asked, what does horny mean? Officials at Toys R Us headquarters claimed they believed they were receiving a fully clothed doll that was more toned down. McFarlane Toys stated this specific toy was only supposed to be sold at record stores and novelty shops, catering to an older audience. So it pretty much seemed like a misunderstanding on everyone's part, and Toys R Us asked all of their stores across the country to pull these off of shelves. But this won't be the first time something like this happens. In 2014, parents were shook when Breaking Bad Walter White toys started popping up in stores and on the Toys R Us website. So this was no mistake. Breaking Bad, a show solely about meth, making meth, selling meth, throwing meth. It's not the first TV show you'd think about selling merchandise for to children. The show was also rated for mature audiences, so a small child walking around Toys R Us probably wouldn't even know what they're looking at, which I can't imagine is great for sales. However, Toys R Us did clarify that they were actually placed in the adult action figure section, which I actually didn't know existed. I think because last time I was at Toys R Us, I was a very small child, and like, I don't remember the layout, but I kind of didn't know that was a thing. So if that's the case, I guess I don't really see the problem. But parents were up in arms, specifically a mother from Florida who made a petition in hopes of getting the toys pulled from shelves, eventually getting over 7,000 signatures. Quote, parents and grandparents around the world shop at Toys R Us, online and in stores, with their children, and should not be forced to explain why a certain toy comes with a bag of highly dangerous and illegal drugs, or why someone who sells those drugs deserves to be made into an action figure. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Please sign to join me in asking Toys R Us to stop selling the Breaking Bad dolls and return to the family-focused atmosphere for which they are known. But again, Toys R Us shot back via NBC News, basically saying the box says 15+ on it, and again, they were placed in the adult action figure section. But it doesn't end here, okay? Bryan Cranston, aka Walter White himself, tweets, Florida mom petitions against Toys R Us over Breaking Bad action figures. I'm so mad I'm burning my Florida mom action figure in protest. I love that man. But ultimately, Toys R Us did decide to pull the Breaking Bad toys from stores. So what do you guys think? Rollerblade Barbie. Up next, a classic case of just a dangerous ass toy. I don't know who thought of this, and give me 14 of them right now. The Roller Barbie Flicker and Flash, released in 1991. The doll's rollerblades came with an effect in order to make it look like she's skating really fast. That effect, you may ask? Sparks. Like actual sparks. Like what happens before a fire starts. Sparks would fly. Like, I don't know. I know this is the early 90s, but like, you guys can't tell me you didn't know fire safety, okay? Like, I feel like that is like the most basic of all basic PSA things. Like, stop, drop, and roll, like, hello? This, of course, sparked Quite a bit of controversy, with a user vividly remembering a local news segment taking place in a garage and saying, quote, "What if your child is playing with Barbie and she rolls over an oil spill and lit the thing on fire?" It's quite literally as simple as that, and I'm shocked that I don't believe any incidents happened from this. Many fans reminisce on how the skates smelled, probably of smoke. Probably of smoke. And now the Rollerblade Barbie sells for around $200 online. Poopsie Slime Surprise. There's always one toy in these videos that I am so uncomfortable talking about. How on earth did we go from MGA doing Bratz to this? I hate where we're going. I hate where we're going. It's the kind of toy that feels insulting to children's intelligence. Poopsie Slime Surprise Unicorns, a name I'm regretful you guys have to hear me say so many times in one video, is a toy line released in 2020 by MGA Entertainment. Watching a video of a Poopsie Slime Surprise Unicorn unboxing literally had me so overstimulated, you guys have no idea. First, you get a surprise unicorn who comes with its own outfit. I'll also start this off by saying they're not cute. Like, at all. You then force feed it glitter and a frappuccino, which it will then piss out. Then you add activator and it makes the unicorn shit into slime. And then, because we're not done yet, you get your very own shit-shaped keychain, which the slime can then be stored in. Holy overstimulation. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's just, it feels like, because like kids have no attention span these days, and that is not their fault. That is, it's us. We did it. Because of the internet and kids having iPads and literally having no patience because everything is like, they can get anything at the freaking snap of a finger. Like, okay, tiny rant, something as small as having to wait to watch your favorite episode of SpongeBob, that doesn't exist anymore. And I know I sound crazy, but like, it doesn't. That is something so needed in development, is having to be patient and wait. If you missed the time SpongeBob was on, sorry kid, you're just gonna have to wait until the next day or whatever. Or like, SpongeBob isn't on yet, so we have to sit and watch something we didn't really feel like watching. Think about all the shows that you never really wanted to watch, but you watched because you were waiting for something better to come on, and then you actually ended up loving the show you were watching. That doesn't exist anymore. That doesn't happen. Because of streaming services and TikTok, I'm so terrified for children. Anyway, total tangent, but I'm just saying this is the type of shit that is just like, ooh, but the unicorn shitting isn't enough. It needs to be glitter, and we need activator to make it slime, and then that's not over yet. We're not done yet. And everything is bright colors. Stimulation, stimulation. Are you bored yet? Don't get bored yet. Stimulation. You know what I mean? Okay. I need to calm down. Unfortunately, back to this. It's also important to note that it's not just unicorns. They have a ton of other terrifying looking animals that can shit out all the slime you want. Specifically, there's this duck that I am actually terrified of. I just hate this design style. Like, I don't know what it is, I just hate it. Anyway, this toy line is semi-controversial just because of how just fucking weird and gross it is. Like, why are they so obsessed with shit? Like, I don't know. Anyway, it gets worse. MG Entertainment released an animated music video featuring the unicorns called My Poops. As you can guess, especially from the lyric, "What you gonna do with all that poop?" This song is basically a ripoff of My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas. And their record label thought so too. BMG ended up suing MGA for copyright infringement, and they did come to a settlement. Lawsuit aside, many parents and random internet users feel like, I don't want to be the one to say it, the whole pooping aspect is just fucking weird, you know? I don't know, it just feels like weird fetishy. I don't know, I don't want to be the one to say it, but like, other people say it too. It's just, I hate it, and we are moving on. We're moving on. Okay, so I almost ended this video without talking about any toys that were supposedly saying bad words. And I almost was like, that's fine. I talked about it enough last time. And then I was like, no. So last time we talked about Elmo saying kill James, James being the small child who owned him. him. And we also talked about the talking Teletubbies who were saying horrible things, and I got a gun. I got a gun! So I thought real quick, just like on my photo booth thing, because I'm too lazy to set up my camera, let's go over a few more times Elmo has found himself in hot water due to saying something he shouldn't, whether that's due to customers mishearing him or something more sinister. When Potty Time with Elmo, a book that included sound buttons, came out in 2006, a mother from Washington was shocked to hear the book say, "Uh-oh, who wants to die?"
Elmo laughs, ha ha ha, and then he says, "Who wants to die?"
Oh, okay. I would probably edit that part out.
The phrase was supposed to say, "Uh-oh, who has to go?" like as in to the bathroom, but supposedly some of the sound files weren't compressed correctly, causing it to sound a bit unclear. So the book was recalled, but thankfully it was brought back in 2008, replacing the original problematic audio. Clearly this happens quite a bit with Elmo, because another incident occurred in 2007, this time with the Sing with Elmo's Greatest Hits toy. A mother from Florida was quick to point out that it seems as though Elmo was saying, "Beat up Elmo," and even "rip your fur out."
Beat up Elmo, rip your fur out.
Turns out Elmo was actually singing "Be like Elmo" and "Shake your fur and shout." Fisher-Price claimed the lyrics may have been harder to hear after playing with the toy frequently would cause distortion. But I mean, that quickly after the toy came out, like I feel like toys aren't supposed to get distorted sounding until like years after that. Like I had this Build-A-Bear that would sing Happy Birthday, but it wasn't the real Happy Birthday song. Maybe they couldn't get the rights to it, because it was like, "From the birthday bear, happy birthday." And it actually sang pretty well until like maybe like 5 years later, and it was like, "From the..." So this specific beat up Elmo incident did not cause a nationwide recall. However, the exact Walmart that this woman bought the Elmo from did temporarily take them off shelves, probably due to backlash, but it doesn't end there, okay? I was writing this part before I even found out this next part. This specific Elmo was not recalled due to this specific incident. However, not too long after this controversy, and by not too long, I literally mean like the next month, Sing with Elmo's Greatest Hits was recalled due to excessive amounts of lead paint. So, completely different problem. I don't know why this shook me, because I knew this. Like, I'm pretty sure I talked about this exact Mattel Fisher-Price recall in my last video. A bunch of Sesame Street toys were recalled along with Dora, Go Diego Go. The fact that this specific Elmo toy, like, sparked up so two separate controversies. Like, is he cursed? I realized I wanted to talk about this after I got a comment saying, like, you should talk about misheard Muppets stuff in the, I think it's like the Muppets wiki or something. I'll put the comment here. I don't know, I just realized I couldn't go through this video without mentioning these. So that's it, back to the video. Disney's Happy Meal QR code. In 2020, Disney did a collaboration with McDonald's to promote the new Disney World ride, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Rainbow. Also, you guys, I am going to Disney World for the first time soon. I'm so excited. I'm not even a Disney adult, and I am so freaking excited. Comment tips for someone who's never been to Disney World, and also someone who has rarely ever been on a plane. I think the last time I went on a plane I was like 3, so I don't really remember it. I have horrible anxiety, so let me know your guys' tips. Anyway, sorry. This is a unique entry because the actual toys themselves didn't cause any problems. It was the QR codes included. When scanning the code in the McDonald's app, there were no issues. It took you where you needed to be, which was, I believe, a like sweepstakes type vibe. However, when scanning the code simply with your phone camera, that's when the problems arose and either gave you an error code or unintended search results, according to McDonald's official statement. That is all we have. We don't know what this actually led you to, but they did confirm, I think they said in limited circumstances, so a few times it brought you to something that wasn't good. So what could it have been? We have no idea what these results consisted of, as I'm sure Disney would scrub the internet of their toys leading children to anything non-kid friendly, but it was risky enough that the toys were recalled. Cloud pets. I almost talked about this case last time, but I ended up saving it for another time, and here we are. Disclaimer, I am not a tech girly. I don't know anything about hacking or databases or whatever, so I'm gonna try to explain this as I understand it, but if anyone actually knows what they're talking about, if I got anything wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments. Cloud Pets were a series of internet-connected plushies initially released in 2015 by Spiral Toys. The pets, including animals such as dogs, cats, bunnies, bears, and unicorns, came with the ability to use Bluetooth to connect to your smartphone. This was advertised for family and friends to send voice messages back and forth through the plushies. The company didn't have a bad idea on their hands, but the execution was extremely poor. The toys themselves were very insecure, making it simple for just about anyone to access it via Bluetooth. Not only that, but the Cloud Pets database, which held all the customers' emails, passwords, voice recordings, had little security as well, thus leading us to the 2017 Cloud Pets data breach. This resulted in the personal data of over 820,000 owners of the toy being stolen and even held ransom in some cases. It was later revealed that Cloud Pets did not require customers to come up with a strong password, in some cases allowing 1234 or even A as the password. Like, it did not correct you and be like, hey, you need something stronger. They were just like, do whatever you want. So hackers could easily guess your password and then retrieve your information that way. And the database hack was described to be, quote, ridiculously easy. The CEO of Spiral Toys denied a lot of the claims made by the media, specifically the one that stated over 2 million voice recordings were stolen. This is a bit odd since that claim is in almost every single article I've read about this. However, researchers and worried parents had frantically tried to contact Spiral Toys during this time and were met with radio silence, so I'm sure they were scrambling. After this, Cloud Pets would not make a comeback ever again. And it's understandable. Parents were terrified at the idea that their children's voice recordings could be accessed by anyone on the internet at the drop of a hat, and there would always be that fear that your personal data would be stolen. It's unfortunate as it is a really cute idea, but these concerns should not be taken lightly when developing a product like this. Moving on. Okay, you guys, so I'm ending with this one because there's no major controversy around this or a recall, but I just love the discourse and I just find it a very interesting toy and you either love it or hate it, so I want to know what you guys think. Fluffie Stuffiez by MGA Entertainment, here we go again with them, are plush fidget-friendly toys made for children to pick at the fur to reveal the actual plushie underneath. This is actually not a bad idea in theory, because a lot of children and adults actually struggle with trichotillomania, which is a mental condition which causes the repeated urge to pick out your hair, whether it's on your scalp, eyelashes, wherever. So having something like this doesn't sound like a bad idea, honestly. However, there are two issues. One, the toy isn't advertised this way, at the most mentioning fidgeting and ASMR. Two, the mess. Parents are leaving bad reviews left and right, actually claiming that this is a great toy to give to someone you hate for their child, so they will continue to find fluff in their house for months on end. Hell on earth, but my kid loves it. Buy this for kids whose parents you hate. Underneath it all, I'm sure there's a cute little animal, but I just don't have it in me to finish defluffing it. 20 minutes in and I'm not even halfway done. My hands are cramping and there's fluff everywhere. It also doesn't help that this is kind of just another surprise inside overconsumption tactic. Keep buying until you get the super rare sparkly purple golden sleigh version. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm falling for it every time, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But something like this doesn't seem like a toy that parents are going to want to continue buying for their children. Another complaint also is that this might actually encourage children to pick out hair out of animals and I didn't even think of that. I think if this toy was actually marketed towards the people that could get the most use out of it, like I said, the people with trichotillomania or even OCD, it's actually a great idea if you're prepared with a trash can and a bit of patience. I really don't see the issue. However, sticking it in the kids section for a 4-year-old to beg their mom to buy for them just for their hands to hurt after a few minutes and make a mess for the parent to complain online about maybe isn't the best way to go about selling this item. With all of that, I'd love to hear your guys' experience with this toy or how you feel about it even if you've never heard of this until now. I would especially love to hear though from people with trichotillomania about this topic. Anyway, that is it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment below your favorite controversial and recalled toys and if you'd like to see me do another one of these. I love talking about toys and I'm definitely going to be talking about a lot more toys recently. I have like a ton of ideas, so I'm very excited. I hope I made this cute for you guys. I know I'm still getting settled in and trying to figure out what I want to do. I will see you guys next week. Bye!